We'll see.
Let's see. Do we have a meeting? Let's see. Oh, we have him here! Welcome! What's the kind of energy our
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
He's live, it's not memorized. He's live.
You can hear me? Okay, I'm in the big speakers. I'm not on like a little small computer speaker, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Big screen.
Okay, good. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And I want to start off by saying that we did everything for me to be in Dubai this week, and I was planning on it. I was excited about it. But I can say that without a doubt, God wants me in Cyprus right now. I'm not going to get into the details of what's going on, but I can tell you, and I'll tell this story. I'm sure there's some people that are, new to Bellator that are there now. There's some people who have been with us since we had a company called Cashflow that we started back in 2022, May 15, 2022. But if we go further back, I think it's always appropriate just to tell the real story of what brought us here, okay? So it's us, me in Cyprus, and it's us, this group that's now, in Dubai, which is one of the most commercially successful places on earth, if not the most entrepreneurial and commercially successful cities on the planet. So going back, I found myself in Sweden. Some of you have heard this story. I had been in crypto since 2015. Crypto had, an amazing run, and then it just stopped, and crypto came down. I came down with it. I packed up my things in Los Angeles. I felt like Los Angeles wasn't where I was supposed to be at the time, so I packed my things. I sold everything. I had 2 suitcases, and I said that I was like professionally homeless was my line, and I traveled Europe. I went to see the World Cup in Russia. Had a couple of amazing years, but I ended up in Sweden with my mom in the room that I grew up in, approaching 50, and my bank account was dwindling. I was on the other. Sweden to me was foreign as an adult. I left Sweden at 18, so I didn't know anything about the society. I didn't know anything about anything. And I was running out of money, and I was sitting in that room, and I was just looking at my situation. And, through my life, I had been doing everything for myself, for me to be significant, for me to look good, for me to be important, for me to get the glory. And in that moment when I knew that in my head and in my thoughts, I had no way of getting out of that room. I did not know. I looked into some things I could do in Sweden. They were completely opposite from who I am as a person. And I felt defeated. I had some fear. And I surrendered in that moment, for real, because I knew there was nothing I could do. And I connected with that in a way where I realized that I had to give up. I surrendered. And I prayed to God, and I said to God, I'm not going to be able to do this. I know it, and I know instinctively what that means. I've done things wrong my whole life. I've worked for myself, my ego, to look good. And I just gave it all up, and I said, okay, I'll do your work. You know, whatever it is I'm meant to be doing here in this world, on this planet, I will do your work. And I also gave it a little bit of a condition. I said, you know, I'm not going to make calls. I'm not going to try to find it. The call's going to come, and then I'm just going to do whatever it is there is to do. And the call came in. A friend of mine who's very spiritual, devout Christian. And he said, I have this deal, blah, 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 and this is what it is. And I was like, well, okay, I guess this is it. And I went to work, and at the same time, we created, with me and Ray and some others, we created CWS, Crypto Wealth Society, around the same time. Within 4 months, my crypto net worth was 1.5 million. Within 4 months of that moment that I had in that room. And during that time, or when I was in there, approaching 50 and being broke, a kid that left and went to LA with the goal of becoming a millionaire at 25. Obviously that didn't happen. I had some success in entertainment, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I ended up in that room approaching 50. And in that moment, it's easy to choose an internal dialogue that says, Micah, you suck. Micah, you're a failure. You're no good. Look at you. You know, you're at your mom's house. Defeated. Not in LA, in Sweden, back to square one. Nothing. You made nothing of your life. I consciously knew that that was an opportunity for me to choose gratitude. And I chose gratitude. I, every day, thank God for my health. Every day I thank God for having, you know, being able to spend that time with my mother in her late years, being able to be there with my sister, being able to be safe during COVID. Sweden was a very good place to be during COVID. They weren't as tough as other places. But I chose gratitude, and I chose something positive instead of something negative to happen in my internal dialogue. Every day I meditated, every day I prayed. And had I been in the self-defeating space, there's no way I would have been open to anything that was given to me by God. I would have just been like, why are you sending me this? I'm a loser, you know? So there's a lot of things that led up to this. And from that point, you know, I met Linda, I ended up in Cyprus, I met Hakan. We then created Crypto Wealth, we created Cash NFT, and then after that we created Bellator, and then that leads us to where we are today, which is that I believe I've been speaking, on behalf of something bigger than myself. I've said throughout these years that we are blessed, that we're protected, and that we're meant for greatness. And I've said that not because, I'm trying to kind of boost myself and my abilities. I've said that because I felt through many different situations that we are protected, that we are on our way to something great, and we are already great. But I had no idea of how big this is, or how, well, okay, never underestimate the Creator, right? Now, some of you are religious, some of you are spiritual, some of you maybe not, I don't know. I'm speaking my truth, my story. This is not a sermon, but I'm just sharing with everyone my experience, okay? So that puts us here today. Where are we? Well, I'm here in Cyprus. We're doing very, very urgent and sensitive work right now. We came out a couple of years ago with a DCF at 3.2 billion. What does that mean? Well, we did a DCF on the markets that we were planning to go into, which was in Europe. And then we put that with an A+ accounting firm, and they came back with, here's your value as a company, 3.2 billion. Well, we've done the new DCF. I'm not going to say the number because we're now getting close to, being on NASDAQ, being under the strict regulations of SEC. But I'm telling you, it's much bigger than what we got last time. Much, much bigger.
Woo! Woo!
For when we're going public, I'm not going to share that because I don't know what I'm allowed and not allowed to share, but it is a specific date. We know what it is, and we know when it will happen, and it's very soon. So that is extremely exciting. I'm sure if you are a student of our project, that you've been following the videos that we have put out with interviews with Russ Gerson, Stephen Norris, of course Hakan, Douglas Anderson, and the topic has been really about what's happening in addition to the airport in Bucharest. And I'll give you a tiny bit of background that Stephen Norris has been part of facilitating some of the biggest financial deals in the world, in the history of the world, involving big players from the Middle East, and so much so that when the Kingdom of Saudi was looking to see who was the person who made all of these sheiks wealthy, and Stephen Norris' name continued to come up over and over again. So they got in touch with Stephen, and they've been, now for a few years looking and planning and seeing what they're going to do with their wealth. And the number one consultant they are going to, because of results that he was able to create, such as taking $100 million into Apple in the early days and that transforming into an asset of $1.5 trillion. So he's the guy. And Hakan and Douglas and Stephen Norris and Gerson and the group are forming a new company. And through that new company, they have already deals to liquidate some of this nation's wealth. And it's between 12 and 60 billion to start off with, and that's called the secondary market. And that's just assets that are performing well, that they feel they want to liquidate. That means they want to sell those assets, take the money, and deploy that into new things. And so they're looking at that portfolio to see what are we going to relinquish and sell and get the money for, so we can go into something else. Now, those are the type of assets that funds buy. So when you have them, there's a market for them. If you have milk in the grocery store, it's going to sell, okay? If you have these type of assets on the market, they are going to sell. And we are now partnering in that business with Stephen Norris and that group in Douglas. And we are going to have an opportunity to be part of that. And it's the first wave is a short-term 8 and 16-month targets for up to $60 billion in sales, and the fees from that is in the hundreds of millions. And the next product that's coming that I'm only sharing with you here in this room because you guys deserve to get this information before everyone else. You got on the plane, you came to Dubai to see us, and I hope that everyone has had an absolute amazing time. And I just want to, thank the team, Jürgen, Ray Gabriel, Raquel, Evelyn, Jack has been instrumental in helping us. I know he's not in the room today. Amber is there supporting, and Ray's sister Sophia is there as well. So I hope that you guys are being taken care of. I know we planned to go out on the water today. I wanted to be there with you guys. I'm definitely not happy about not being able to film myself and be in two places at the same time. But so we're gonna extend in Phoenix so far in that. So you can actually trade your Phoenix for products. You can do that on our website now. We will go back live with Phoenix trading on tomorrow. And we've come a long way with the sport product. I think they presented that today, and it is agreed, I would say, in the circles of Stephen Norris, Stephen Moore, Russ Gerson, and that whole group does that. The sport project dwarfs, let me say that again, the sport project dwarfs everything else. Why is that? The sport project gives a financial institution of any sort that wants to know who you are financially the best data on the planet. Why? Because we're incorporating into traditional data, which is what we get, Experian, Equifax, and all that, and the likes across the world. We get that data so that a person can understand what it means. Money is a product, okay? So when you buy your car and you take $30,000 of their money, there's a profit attached to that product of money that is altered by the quality of the data they have. So the better data they have, the more money they make while selling you $30,000. Okay? They check you all the time. They check you when you're not checking yourself. So you take a country like Turkey with 80 million people. In 1 year, there's 1.5 billion instances when that data is requested. If you put just 50 cents every time that's done as a fee, you have a revenue of $750 million from one country on the planet. Now take that and expand that out to the whole world. Then you get an idea of how powerful that service can be. But not only that, the value of that data is much more than any other set of information points in any other industry. It has a tremendous value. It costs a bank $2,000 to acquire one single customer. $2,000 is the cost to a bank to acquire a new customer. because of that reason, because of the value of the data, because of what they're dealing with, because of the value of that customer. Imagine our company having millions of people that have gone through our credit process, what the value of the company becomes in a short period of time. I've been playing around just to kind of finish this up because I think our company's success, your personal success, is tied to how you comprehend what we have. Okay? There's a company that got started a little bit before us, and they're called Silk. If you go on Ingenico and you go to crypto solutions partners, you'll see them. I think it's SYLQ. They've been there actively taking customers for a few months, maybe 7-8 months. They've brought in 40,000 customers, and the average daily transactions, when I'm done my math, we started with 1.5. So we said, we think we can average 1.5. Well, because of some relationships and some being able to get a little bit of inside information, I'm not telling you how that has happened. However, we know that they're doing an average of 5 per day. So you take 40,000 times 5 transactions a day. If we were just to attach, or just to estimate that a transaction is worth $1 for that company, then they're doing $200,000 a day in revenue. That's at $1. It's probably more like 4 or 5 on average. That's in their first year. When you look at me doing the projections, which, so that everybody understands, is for entertainment purposes only, and I say that because we are not telling you what's going to happen, we're not giving you financial advice, but when we play with those numbers and just say, we can grow, in the next 5 years, conservatively to this place, we get a value of a node at $600,000 to $1 million 5 years from now. These are the nodes that we've been giving you at $300, okay? So the power, and that is just, we're just scratching literally the surface of what's possible with these products, with these assets. It's just the surface of it. If we were to really go into, us being a dominant player, which we are already that, but we continue to be that in a world that shifts completely over from fiat into the blockchain, and the transactions are on the blockchain, and we're a leader in that industry, and Mirko is one of the strongest, like an equivalent of the Visa company, or equivalent of a Discover company, or American Express company, or of that sort, then the numbers get absolutely insane. That's why God, he's like, look, we're not going public. We can't do things that make no sense. And what you are doing here by selling these nodes the way you're selling them makes no sense on a corporate, from a corporate standpoint. So what you have, when you have these nodes and own these nodes, we'll never do that again. After we stop these promotions, and it's like, we would consider that you, as being part of Bellator this first year, you're the founders, and you got rich. stinking rich. This is like how I see things. And we will come off of that miracle pay. We will go into this secondary, but we're going to keep miracle pay for a while and buy one and get an additional one included in that price. Then it's going to come down to, and you must understand what I'm saying here. If we go to buy one, which we will very soon, and you get one, I'm talking about an asset that can grow into $1 million value in the next 5 years. It is just the only thing that happens here is you're spending with your customer or the person you're selling to is spending a few $100s more for $1 million upside. Okay? So you have to, in your understanding, know that it doesn't matter if they get 1 plus 3, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1, or 1. It doesn't matter because what matters is what that thing is worth 5 years from now. That's financial intelligence. We are, yes, high risk, but we were way higher risk May 15, 2022. What we are now is high risk, but when you understand the industry, you understand the growth, you see where things are going, if you have the information correctly, standing, you know that we are low risk in crypto. Extremely low risk in crypto at this point. With the contracts we have, with the deals we have, we are like as sure of a bet as you can get in crypto. A financial planner is going to call it high risk because that's what they do. Buying a Tesla stock is low risk, so you see what you're kind of comparing to. Soon enough, as we go on to NASDAQ, as we grow, that risk factor, professional valuation of where we stand will continue to go towards safer and safer and safer. So the reason the upside is so ridiculous, where you can turn $300 into $1 million in 5 years, is because of the nature of what we're doing. We're pioneering a new world of finance. It's never happened before this way. The world is going to, all of the wealth of the world is going to be on a token. And we are in the middle of that transition. We're tokenizing the largest asset in the history of the industry, and what's coming after that, the whisper of that is oil. That's what's coming after that. We are at the epicenter of the world's wealth transforming ownership onto the blockchain. That's where we sit. That's what you're involved in. Anyone who gets blessed to understand what we're doing, who joins us, their life will surely transform not just theirs, but the legacy of their family, the quality of their life, everything. There's so much wealth involved in the segments of the industries that we're addressing, that we can have an unlimited amount of people join us and an unlimited amount of people living and surviving and becoming very wealthy off of this program. So don't take it lightly, because you will have many regrets in the future. Man, I should work 12 hours a day. I should work 15 hours a day. I would have been this, I would have been that. That's what I'm seeing. So enjoy the rest of this trip. You will be able to talk about this for a long time to come, that you were there. We are so close. We have some estimates of what's going to come into Bellator when we go public, and we're talking about hundreds of millions. And what happens to Phoenix in that scenario, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So thanks everyone. I hope you guys got some understanding of what's going on with our technology, with our presenters today, and enjoy your enjoy your boat ride. It's beautiful at night. It's a true experience to be out there on the Dubai marina and waters outside of there. So thanks everyone. Take care. Enjoy your day.